Hey traders, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to look at US30. So I just put a kind of question box on my Instagram, and this is the pair you guys wanted me to look at. So I'm going to look at a trade analysis I put out last week, and then we'll get into the actual analysis that I'm looking at coming up, which is not too exciting, but we might see some opportunities. So the market just opened. And yeah, so I'm not going to be looking at any opportunities tonight, but possibly tomorrow I'll get in on another trade. We'll see how things go. So I am going to take you to my Discord server. This is a newer server that I've put out for setups only. I don't know if you guys have seen me talking about it on Instagram, but basically I put out daily setups as often as I can. Obviously, guys, I have a life. Sometimes I travel and do things, or sometimes the market isn't moving, but this is my main kind of hub for where I put out setups. If you're a member of my mentorship program, so my A to Z community, you will also get them. But what I did want to look at is US30 last week and what I was looking at, okay? And so you can see here, I did tell the group on Wednesday that I was looking at these two trend lines, and we're going to go into those in a minute. And I'm going to show you what I mean when I say I was looking for rejection here. But I was looking for a possible buy opportunity, okay? So there was the possibility we could have seen rejection. And we were just looking for rejection. I didn't put out a trade at this point, just kind of giving everyone a look at those trend lines that I'm looking at, okay? And then in the second, so we did look at USD CAD too. I'm not really going to get into that. That did work out as well. I didn't put out a whole lot of trades last week because the market was super volatile, but it did put out this other US30 trade. So we're going to look at this one, and I'm going to show you exactly what I meant by this, but we had a break of this first trend line, and I'm going to go back into the chart in a second, and then we wrote her down all the way to 24.8, okay? Stop loss was 27,000. I'm going to show you that as well. And that's really all there is to that. But yeah, so that's the trade we're going to look at. Just bear with me because I want to go out to the weekly time frame for a second. So I'm going to show you what I mean by the two trend lines, because I know that can get a little bit confusing for some of you. So when I look at trend lines, you guys, first of all, I normally look at them as an area. So I would normally have a little box over them. I'm not going to do that right now because it gets a little confusing or a little disorganized on the chart, I should say. But these are areas that we look for, right? For price to reject on. And when you're looking at the weekly time frame, you're going to have multiple support and resistance areas, okay? Even if you're looking at trend lines, you're going to treat those trend lines as support and resistance, or that's how I would do it anyway, okay? Especially on a pair like US30. So here's a tip for you guys. When I'm trading a pair that tends to, or that I use the breakout method on, so like that would be US30, that would be GJ, UJ, really volatile pairs, I do consider trend lines a lot more than actual zones. So I would consider trend lines or the actual zone around the trend line, okay? So I would put a rectangle around that line and look at that. And that just tends to work a little bit better for me on certain pairs, only on certain pairs, okay? Normally, you guys know I use standard horizontal zones like I do in every other video, but US30 is one of those pairs that I will consider trend lines, especially on the higher time frames, okay? Now, I always look at trend lines for structure, but when actually looking for entry, I will look at them as well when I'm looking at US30. So just depending on the setup. So what I'm going to do is place a trend line down here. And this is our main trend line, right? Like this is the trend line that price has been respecting for or multiple times, okay? And then we do have a trend line that's been respected here as well. And if you look in here, you can see other little trend lines that have been respected as well throughout here, right? So you can wait for a break of that, and then you can get in on a sell there. And it kind of works the same all throughout. But because we're looking at the weekly time frame, you can break these sections up into mini trend zones or trend lines. And I have a video on trend zones. I'll try to link it below if I can find it. If not, let me know if you want a video on that, because you guys know I like zones better than lines. but it would need to be like, I'm going to make this video super long if I get into that. So let me know below if you want me to do a whole dedicated video on them. Like if you're someone who trades US30 or other indices, you're going to want to know trend zones really well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look at, so we're going to go to the 4-hour chart, and this is where we got our entry, okay? So I was waiting for this trend line here to be broken, and obviously we had a nice breakout of that area, that first trend line, right? And so that's when I put that trade out to everybody. It might have been a little bit later. It might have been like here, did move really fast. But once we had that area broken, we took it down to 28, hold on, 24.8. Okay. And I did let people know that, to trail stop. So if I'm entering a trade like this, and that's a really good kind of learning point for everyone right now. If I'm entering a trade like this, where the market's moving this fast, like look at this 4-hour candle, how much she dropped. I'm definitely trailing my stops. And what I mean by that is, let's go down to like, I'm going to get lost here now. Oh no. So every new kind of mini consolidation period. And what I mean by that is, even though we're not seeing true consolidation, you see how price right in that area, this is a little dark. Let me lighten it up. I don't know why it's blue. Let's make it light yellow. There we go. See how price within this little area is, it kind of stops trending for a few minutes. That's where I'm going to trail my stop. Okay. So I'm going to trail it into profit. And I have a whole other video on that as well. Every situation is a little different. You kind of have to use your common sense, okay? And say like, all right, we're in a new area where price isn't aggressively moving downward anymore. Let's trail our stop. And I'd probably put it above this wick high here, okay? And again, like if I go into how to trail your stops, this is just going to be a super long video. So check out my other video on that. I explain exactly how to do that. But that is something I expect, students and anyone really that's trading in my program to be able to do. I forgot to say this at the beginning, but these are all just my opinions, right? Like these setups are just my opinions, what I am personally doing in the market. And you really shouldn't be taking anything like that as financial advice. I know that should be kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised on how it's not to some people. All right. So basically what I was doing is we were riding down to this lower weekly trend line. And can you see how beautifully that worked out? Like price just went right on down, and now we're seeing rejection again. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, so I think, and I'm after forgetting again, but I think it was 24.8, right? 24.8 is where we wrote it down to. No, I think I'm telling you a lie. No, 24.8. So yeah, we wrote it all the way down to here. Okay. So we literally wrote it right all the way down. Now, normally I would, like, price didn't go all the way down to that line, which I would have preferred. I don't like taking profit, when things are that dicey, but it did work out perfectly for us. That's the importance though of trailing your stops. And all I mean by that is if price hadn't have hit that and then quickly went on back up, if you're not trailing your stops, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage there, right? And the other thing I was looking for was rejection here. Now, here's the thing and I'm going to give you my outlook now for this week on US30. So here's the thing with taking a buy here, even though we're seeing like incredible rejection, which that's pretty obvious on the 4-hour chart, right? We're getting intense rejection. The issue is the momentum here. And so when you have this much momentum, and this is not a healthy trend, okay? So these 4 candlesticks here on the daily time frame are not forming a nice healthy trend where we have some pullbacks and stuff like that. If we have a healthy trend and we have a strong momentum, it can actually benefit us when we hit a key level, because there are going to be, so many in this case, buyers waiting at this level to get in, okay, because they know it's a strong level. Everyone's kind of waiting there, and then it pushes us in an upward direction. But when you have an unhealthy trend like this one, I would not try to oppose it. Like, that's not something I would do. So what I would do in this situation, I would wait for the uptrend to actually start, and I'd get in at the break of a next key level. So even though I'm missing a lot of pips here, I'm not going to oppose a trend like this because it doesn't fit my plan. Okay, so I'm actually going to wait till price comes up, starts forming that new trend, and we do get that reversal, and then I'll get in here, and that still gives me a great opportunity if I want to ride back up to this level. Okay. Obviously, so many people ask me, like, what do you think is going to happen with the Dow? Guys, I don't know, and nobody else knows either. All right. I can tell you that based on this trend, I would not be shocked if we saw new lower lows. I would not be shocked. This is, like I said, an incredibly strong trend, and we might see price, come on down to another trend line, which if we break this way, I will start looking for more sells right away. So I guess I should kind of point that out to you too. So if we break this way, I would look for a nice breakout candle on the 15-minute, and I would just enter and ride on down to another zone. So probably, let's see, probably this one. Okay. Like, I'm looking at this area here. Becomes really hard on US30, and this is another reason, like, you don't see me drawing my normal horizontal zones. Like, normally you guys are used to me drawing them like this, right? And this is just a really shitty zone that I'm drawing in. But yeah, you're used to me drawing them like that. But the issue with the Dow is that we've been forming all-time highs, and it's very difficult to draw those horizontal zones in a case like this. Okay, same goes for gold. Like, when it's up at those really high levels, you don't have that recent price history where you can easily draw a zone. Obviously, we could have here, and now lower, we'll get a few more, but it's just a bit more difficult than when you go back and you have, multiple areas that price is respected. And I will stop zooming in and out because I know that drives you crazy. I think that's it for this video. Let me know what you want to see. If you want to join my setups only community, it's very affordable, guys. It's $49.99, like $49.99, not like $50. It's not a $5,000 thing. And it's for a 3-month trial, we'll call it. So you'll be in the community for 3 months. It's a one-time payment. You're not auto-subscribed to anything or anything like that. I will pop that link in my description box if you want to take advantage. And I think that's it. I will stop rambling. But yeah, let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.